Thank you, Dorothy, for the welcome. So welcome to a new format, the first lunch and learn brain food session. So the idea is to get a lot of input today from Augustin and have a discussion as soon and as much and as diverse, or maybe even critical as possible. Augustin is one of my Vorbilder, would you say? Guys, I learned a lot. He is with industry for nearly 20 years. He's born in Bavaria and lives now in Berlin.
Correct.
And we were both at BMW during the I project. So that was your first start in the business world. You worked for West Wing, which is a fashion furniture company. You worked for Aoki, so the Deutsche Bahn, so really a profound experience. Then you worked 4 years for Volkswagen. We were colleagues again. And you're now 3.5 years working for MHP Consulting. We'll explain yourself. And Augustin is known as really the expert for mobility ecosystem and for software-defined vehicles. 2 minutes ago, he had 55,120 followers on LinkedIn. And he's really the guy who delivers content and not just doing brand and cha-cha-cha. And really, look at his profile. It's the best overview you can get on a regular basis. But today, we cover the topic of partnership we discussed before, which is really since beginning of the year, since Las Vegas, really going like this. And so I'm very glad that you present the results of your latest study, and afterwards we have a chat and a talk with you. So your stage, I'm looking forward, Augustin.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thanks for your applause. Thanks for coming here today. So I don't need to introduce myself anymore. Yeah, so good that someone is tracking my LinkedIn followers. I don't do. But yeah, next to LinkedIn, I have also like a proper job, which is a company called MHP. We are owned by Porsche, but we work with the whole industry. And every year we do like a mobility study. And this year we managed to release our next study right with the IAA. It's called The Power of Partnerships. Yeah, so it launched today. You can directly download it from our website. If you can scan the QR code, it's available in German and also in English, so no worries. And it's like a easy to read, as in the last year guide, how to manage partnerships, how to identify the success criteria of partnerships, how to avoid mistakes in partnerships, and we also ask around 600 decision makers from the automotive industry what they think about the relevance of partnerships and then also the areas of partnerships, and I will talk about that in a minute. So the question is, where are we in the industry? Yeah, so probably you all know we are coming from like the ICE age with combustion engines. Their partnerships like were relevant in some way, but not like mandatory. Today we are like in the software-defined vehicle space. Yeah, so there our approach and thinking at MHP is, and also backed by the survey that we did, like the transformation without partnerships is not possible. You see here battery technology, software is core competencies. Yeah, so if you think about the automotive industry, they don't have the competencies to do this in-house, so they need to fix it with partnerships. And then probably the next exciting wave for the automotive industry is AI, AI-enabled mobility. And there, if you think there also about the USPs that you see here, access to AI infrastructure, compute technology, AI foundation models, etc. This is also not feasible without partnerships. Yeah, so there probably you like learn a lot or read a lot about partnerships in recent months and the last year, but also like this approach towards partnerships. That's something we see already for the last 3 to 5 years, especially linked to technology in the vehicle and then also off board. And one of the reasons Probably also what you see then here is basically the automotive OEMs, the traditional ones, which you see here is the blue line. Yeah, they realized, okay, we have like a gap along the whole value chain of automotive creation, from like access to capital, development area, then also like to the product-related features and functions, also then to the distribution networks. Yeah, so and of course one opportunity would be to solve it with in-house processes and teams and transformation, but this would take forever. So the other approach is, okay, how can you close then there also the gaps is with partnerships, especially in the relevant areas. And where we focus on in the study as well is like on two parts. The first one is on enterprise IT and corporate level partnerships. So everything linked to cloud, everything linked to new tool chains, development environments, and so on. Yeah, so to have then their strong partnerships with then tech players, with then the experts to close then here the gap. And the second one is product level partnerships. Yeah, to close then the gaps on like the main topics that you see also here at the IAA this year, which is digital cockpit, linked to AI, new interfaces, and so on. But then also secondly, and very prominent topic then here as well, to ADAS features and functions, and then also like the digital ecosystem around that. Few numbers about the relevance of partnerships, but also to the link, also some data about risks, and then also like the areas of partnership. Yeah, so one message that we found out by asking around 600 decision makers is like the importance of partnership is seen as like super critical. Yeah, so there, if you look across and if you read our study, not only do you see a lot of data about OEMs, but also on tier ones, where we see then, okay, the majority of participants in the OEM space and also in the tier one supplier space in the three regions, China, Europe, and the US, see it absolutely critical to have then partnerships. The second one is then what about the top reasons for partnerships? Yeah, so there, of course, we talk about technology. We talk then also about like access to markets, but also then reaching then also like cost efficiency and then also speed. Yeah, and there, if you then read through the study, and then like also if you're interested, we can share more details about the survey then as well. You see then, okay, it's very nuanced if you look into the different regions. Yeah, so there are other reasons in China to aim for partnerships versus the US versus Europe. There's then also like a different approach to partnerships in the different areas. Yeah, so there also one message is it's not like everything a one-fits-all approach. It's like again very customized and by the different regions or for the different regions, which also means then, okay, if you're there as an OEM or as a supplier, you need to adopt your strategy. And last but not least, then also like the OEMs and suppliers see then risks linked to partnership. Yeah, so there then also one of the most relevant one is here then, okay, it's, sorry, I think the description here is not right, or it's a small mistake there, but it's then also like the loss of technology competency, yeah, as a main reason to what they see with risks, and then followed then also by the other reasons that you see here, often linked then to loss of core competencies, then also like coordination effort and so on. Yeah, so there, if it comes then to partnerships and to make this successful and to mitigate risks, again, yeah, so there are different factors, different reasons you need to consider where you need then to have like your strategy to mitigate then the risk and have successful partnerships. But overall, it's like one of the top topics of our time, of the transformation. Yeah, so more than 50% of OEMs see partnerships as crucial for the success. And managing partnerships, yeah, becomes one of the core competencies of OEMs and suppliers. And this is something where they need to work on in 3 different phases, which I will deep dive in the next slide. So first, one important factor about the successful execution is the enlightenment phase. Yeah, so where you really need to identify and define what is the aim of the partnership, what are the partners that you want to do the partnership with, how do you basically then also align the leadership and the team, followed then by the execution phase, yeah, so where you have then really, after your nice press announcement and so on, then where you basically set up the stage to close then basically the cultural differences, then also to empower then like the team and have then there also like the right KPIs and tools for measurement. And then the third one, sorry, it's then also super relevant, and you need to be clear about the evaluation. Yeah, so there it's then also to then be able to manage and to steer the partnerships. You need to have like clear KPIs. You need then have like an active steering of the partnership. Sometimes partnerships don't work out as planned. Yeah, so what is then there also your exit strategy, and then basically what could you leverage for the next partnerships and learnings. What we see there, and as mentioned at the beginning, yeah, so that's important for the top topics, like to name a few, global cloud solutions, then also like AI solutions, or then also data platforms, to always think in two directions. Yeah. So the first one is on enterprise and corporate partnerships. So they are also like product partnerships, solution partnerships, without having like the foundation on the enterprise and corporate world or corporate IT environment doesn't work. And then, of course, the second dimension to think about are the product-related partnerships. Yeah, to always have then there like the customer in mind. Yeah, so that's very important to put the customer in focus. Don't think about software-defined vehicles, etc. It's really about customer-defined vehicles. And then also, think about how to leverage then like the ecosystems and how to leverage the partners to get them there, and how to make like differentiations. To close this up, yeah, so what are our 4 recommendations to closing the gaps that you have seen at the beginning? The first one, yeah, is really shift toward like a software-defined company in reality, not just on paper. Yeah, so basically do the transformation of the organization. Getting there is not a technology challenge. It's really like a cultural, organizational challenge that needs to be fixed. The second one is drive vertical integration where it makes sense. Yeah, so be really sure where you do like own value creation and where you need partners to deliver the value towards the customer. Then have there like a well-defined partnership strategy and execute that to close then the gaps in the different areas and the different regions. And then also the last point here, number 4, is it's not static. Yeah, so we need to move towards like more agility, have then there like a continuous improvement, continuous update, continuous evaluation of the partnerships, and then adjust. Yeah, it's not always easy, but that's critical. And most importantly, and that's my last point, is we need to act now. Yeah, so we know the world around us is moving super fast, especially if you think about new players from China, if you think about the tech hyperscalers from the US, if we think about AI. Yeah, so we don't have time that we can lose. We need to move now and to start like putting the partnerships in place and executing partnerships like on rocket speed starting now to basically have their chance to keep up in the competition in the global mobility and automotive ecosystem. That's it as a short teaser. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you want to download the study, please scan the QR code, reach out to me, look at our webpage. If you want to chat with me, I'm here around today and tomorrow, but you see here also my contact details. Hans-Peter knows it, I'm very pragmatic. Yeah, just call me, email me, more than happy to chat and to help. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm really looking forward to our chat. I have the privilege to ask the first 3 questions, and then I would very much invite you to join us. Your last sentence was act now, and I think that's going to be one of the mottos, maybe of this IAA. The other one is China speed. How did you, what's your judgment on the speed of transformation and partnerships? How did it change since the beginning of the year? What are your observations or maybe 2 trends?
I would differentiate in like partnership announcements. Yeah, so there we have seen a lot of interesting partnerships in the different areas, linked to China, linked to mobility, linked to AI, and so on. And the second one is like on execution and organization. And I think we have still a gap in the execution and linking then also partnerships to the organizational changes that are needed to be successful and to gain speed and agility.
Good. If you talk about execution, which I think is a real thing, what will be the one which is standing out? Let's go a little bit more back to the last IAA, so 2 years ago. Which one is a benchmark for execution, really delivering impact and results?
Well, it's hard to say because there are so many, and but if I would pick one or like would pick an area, it's then really linked then also to like bringing AI to the vehicles. Okay. Yeah. So and there again, it's not like Europe; it's more than China. So there, if you see then how fast they implement the new models of AI to then have like better customer experience, have then also like maybe cheaper costs and so on. That's really astonishing to see.
One example, very concrete in the market. One brand OEM who does this really good.
I don't want to name any like OEM then here, but yeah, I think it's, and they would also need would not be fair because I would say it's more like not an OEM who is doing it very good. So it's like the different teams within the OEMs. Yeah. So I think we need to break it down a bit then like ADAS into cockpit, into then also maybe enterprise IT and so on. And a lot of partnerships we don't talk about and we don't see in the press, and where like the execution is then super good. So basically updating the production environment with NVIDIA Omniverse. Yeah. Or like and there if you want to have an example, probably it's then maybe BMW who are doing a good job in there, but also if you think about the suppliers, you have then companies like Schaeffler, etc., which no one talks about, but they also say then, this is our approach to basically optimize cost and speed by implementing then like technology platforms, and also from I think they also use Omniverse and so on to basically be their cutting edge.
Let's review this at the end of this week. Like yesterday, were also press conferences, and nearly in every press conference launch, the issue partnership was a topic, not even BMW. Yeah. If you look about your experience on partnerships, we have hardware partnerships, we have software. How does this, which one is harder? Berger, you're coming from software-defined vehicle, software-driven, but are there any good partnerships on the hardware side, which is maybe more demanding if you look at the past?
I would say like doesn't matter if it's software or hardware, both is like demanding. And basically if you talk about hardware today, often software is part of that, either as like still embedded or like as we have in software-defined vehicles, then separate. But then also what I find quite interesting is then also the approach of new players to move them basically also in the hardware component business. So you can see then there are like companies like Lucid from the US, which have then like a powertrain hardware business to then basically have then another revenue stream for like some parts of the systems. But then also if you look then into semiconductors, so I would say that's also one of the super relevant areas at the moment, basically where you have then different ADAS software players, but then also like OEMs who start to design their own semiconductors, and then basically also do it, and they're not doing it only for like their own vehicle programs, because their volume would be too small to have then like a business case, but also basically to sell it then to like other automotive OEMs and so on. So this is I would say one of the areas I definitely would watch, because this is then also making the difference of the vehicles of the next generations.
So if we now look on the, I call them the new dragons, who enters the market. We had Elon Musk, we have NIO with William Li. Which of the new entrants, new dragons, is the best in partnering, not coming out of the legacy of OEMs? So one of the new kids on the block. Anyone you're observing and you're saying he's doing a good job? We had like Dyson, they produce the vacuum, they failed. Any of the new players you're watching or we should watch?
Yeah. I would say their strategy and narrative is we have like a high vertical integration, so they aim for more like developing, etc., the core technology in-house.
Yep.
If it comes into partnership, it's then more about then, let's say, the commodity parts. Yeah. So if you talk about the brakes, or if you then talk about then maybe also some,
Scaling
let's say,
up.
yeah, the middle layers of the, or middleware of the software stack and so on, where they partner, then they don't tend to talk about that, yeah, because they want to have the more the narrative, okay, we are a new player, we do vertical integration, we do like everything in-house and on our own, including like the S2C design and so on. But then, okay, if you look carefully, and then if you look more on like commodity parts, then there they still then partner, and they are then in the same boat as like all the traditional OEMs.
Okay, so I'm happy to open the round. Doro is gonna assist us, so please raise your hand. Please tell us your name, it's more polite so you know who you are, what you do. And short question, please.
I think it's on.
Yeah, everyone hear me. I'm
Please.
Kishot from Vestel Mobility. Our booth is nearby there. And hello, August.
Vivasto.
No, Vestel Mobility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the good presentation. My question is, partnerships is very important, but also some OEMs are aiming to go to vertical integration. And what is the key points that while these partnerships are ongoing and Tier 1 should protect their IP too, but also OEMs are tending to get some IPs, heard from some also OEMs professionals. So what are the key concepts that Tier 1 should be like careful about while preparing these partnerships? That's my question.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very good question. Thanks for that. I mean, as presented also in like of one of the slides, be aware they're basically of the risks. Yeah, so there depends on the region and the different like domain you would like to target. There you find more also in like in the study that we released today. And I think there, from a Tier 1 perspective, it's then like very important to master the transformation from delivering embedded systems with hardware and software to say, okay, where are you basically becoming a technology provider? Yeah, so where you have like really an IP no one can copy, yeah, which an IP which you can also protect. And then on the second part is where do you become like a service provider, and basically moving from like this kind of we deliver kind of more or less like black boxes, integrated systems with hardware to software, to deciding where to become a technology provider and where become like then service provider. That's then key. And there again, there's no one-fits-all solution. There depends on like the segment of vehicles you would like to target on the different domains, and then also, okay, do you want to be successful here in Europe? Do you want to be successful maybe more in India, or like in China, in the US, etc. Yeah? So there, basically, this should then also differ region by region.
Got it?
Hi, I'm Christian Jan. I'm from Automotive. We are in the domain of cybersecurity. Okay. And one observation that I made regarding partnerships, at least in this cybersecurity area, leaving the automotive world, partnerships bring roughly 94 cents to the dollar from the revenue that is generated. So it is an essential part of creating a value in the industry. Now, also partnerships are part of the culture, right? So I don't see that much of a partnership culture in the automotive world, but I'm actually interested if you see differences in the partnership culture and what makes a partnership successful in different regions: China, Southeast Asia, Europe, North America. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian, for the question. I would say, or like I mentioned also earlier, like announcing partnerships is like super easy. Yeah, so you get to do like the press release and then follow up with that, etc. But execution is super hard. Yeah, and as I mentioned, managing partnerships successfully will become one of the core competencies of the automotive industry. We are not there yet. Yeah, so we need to close in there like the gaps. And I would say, like looking there by region, I'm not a big fan of that. I would say, okay, you really need to look by teams. Yeah. So again, it's not about regions, it's not about OEMs. If partnerships are successful, it's really about the different teams in the OEMs. Yeah, because you really need to have like the leadership that's behind the partnership, doing the partnership in the right way, having then like or like mastering the 3 different phases from enlightenment, execution, and then evaluation. And this is more like on a team level and not like on a region or like OEM level. And so basically this is then something where we encourage then like the different OEMs or the customers to start with, and basically leverage that then to bring it from one team to like the neighboring teams, etc., and then expand from there. Because what we then also see is, okay, move the whole company from like where it is today to like a new setup. It's like that's not feasible. Yeah, so it's you always need to start with like the ones that are basically already on this mindset, and then basically grow from there.
I would like to take this interaction one step further. I discovered one guy who has a lot of experience with partnerships, so please give the microphone to Michael Perschke. Michael, you have you were CEO of a brand, Italian brand, Love brand, supercar, and you had a team in India, in Bavaria, and in Italy. So what were your learnings transferred to our discussions today?
Well, first of all, thanks for you and Augustine. I think partnerships for me today in the automotive world are existential.
Yeah.
And we saw a company in Niedersachsen trying to become a software company, burning double-digit billions. And you saw a Munich OEM going with Tata Systems. So partnership can, for some companies, be even close to do or die. The same what we have right now in the battery world. So my experience is it's very crucial that you do the proper due diligence, because the partnership has to be on an eye-to-eye level. And you need to really have strategic long-term targets aligned, not just short-term, media action for a press conference because the CEO runs out of talking material. So what would you recommend in a real due diligence if a client comes to you at MHP and it's not an associated company, to really do a proper due diligence that the partnership finally works out? Because the book, the birth and death of a Chinese joint venture, there are lots of these case studies. So what do you recommend us?
Yeah. So I would say that due diligence is one crucial part, to select then the right partner. But I think it's more important to already start with the step before. So what do you want to reach with this partnership? So what should be then also the outcome, so that you also have like a target or like let's say a base level for the due diligence to benchmark against. And then of course, if it's then about the due diligence, the different areas, so to technology, is it then also to financial power and financial backings, and most importantly then to the culture and the organization, and then basically also not only do the due diligence of the partner, so also do the due diligence of your own team basically, and then to see, okay, where are basically the bottlenecks or the breaking points in your own organization which you need to fix, So do the due diligence and always in both directions, to the partner direction, but also towards the own organization, and then also fix like the issues that you have in your own organization, because that's probably then also one of the reasons why some of the partnerships are not successful.
Last question, short answer. You told about this current wave of AI. So what's going to be the next wave partnerships are going to ride? Is it going to be autonomous, entertainment? So what would be the next wave of partnerships?
I think there are multiple ways, but one super relevant one is definitely like level 4 autonomy, where we see already the formation of partnerships between technology providers, OEMs, and then also mobility platforms.
And after that?
Then, we talk about the content in the vehicle. So this would be then what you mentioned, then how to make basically this experience super nice in the vehicle. And then if you talk about the next wave, which I said like level 4, I think there we have a huge risk at the moment in Europe. So basically, if you look at the announcement from yesterday and then also before, technology is coming from China, cars are coming from China, mobility platforms coming from the US. So whereas like Europe, so I think that's where all of us are here. Let's change that and let's act now.
That's a good motto for the week. Thank you very much, Augustine. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
I invite you to come tomorrow. We have another 2 sessions. Tomorrow we'll be with BMW Group and the town of Rotterdam. So we have 2 panelists, and on Thursday we have Mobility as a Service, and Lukas, he is doing the Deutsche Bahn Navigator. So I think 2 hot topics. Thanks again and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.